The transport vessel shuddered as it docked with the Zentari trading station. Jake Martinez stepped through the airlock, his boots clanging against the metal floor. Around him, dozens of alien species moved through the crowded marketplace, their bodies towering over his modest 5'9" frame. A cluster of Kralix warriors blocked his path, their chitinous exoskeletons gleaming under the harsh station lights. The largest one, easily 12 feet tall, clicked its mandibles in what Jake had learned was laughter. "Look at the tiny mammal," it hissed to its companions. "How does such a pathetic creature survive in the void?" Jake kept walking, Rex's carrier strapped securely to his back. The 70-pound weight felt comfortable, familiar. He'd hauled his dog halfway across the galaxy, and he wasn't about to let some overgrown insects ruin their supply run. "It carries cargo on its weak spine," another Kralix chittered. "Perhaps it is a pack animal for a superior species." The crowd parted as more aliens noticed the human. Whispers spread through different languages and vocal frequencies. The Yithrak merchants stretched their serpentine necks to get a better view. 3 Dulvan traders, their forearms gesticulating wildly, made exaggerated gestures mimicking Jake's comparatively tiny form. Even the usually reserved Quintari paused their business transactions to observe. Jake reached the weapons dealer's stall, a grimy alcove run by a Voss named Carrick. The amphibious alien's eyes bulged as Jake approached. "Human," Carrick croaked. "Your credits are good, but must you bring that container? It disturbs other customers." "The container stays with me," Jake said flatly. He pulled out his credit chip. "I need plasma cells." "Grade 4. A Kralix warrior shouldered past, deliberately knocking into Jake. The human stumbled, but kept his footing. Inside the carrier, he heard Rex growl, low and deep. "Easy, boy," Jake whispered. "Did the small one's cargo just make a sound?" The Kralix leaned closer, its compound eyes reflecting the neon signs. "What primitive beast does the human transport?" "None of your business," Jake replied, taking his plasma cells from Carrick. The Kralix's claw shot out, gripping the carrier's handle. "I wish to see what creature is as weak as its owner." Jake's hand moved to his sidearm. "Last warning, let go." "Or what, tiny mammal? Will you bite my ankles?" The latch broke. Rex exploded from the container in a blur of brown and black fur. The German Shepherd's jaws clamped onto the Kralix's arm, with 800 pounds of bite force. The alien shrieked, a sound that pierced every frequency. Rex shook his head violently, and the chitinous armor cracked like glass. Purple blood sprayed across the deck. The marketplace erupted into chaos. The second part begins now. Rex released the first Kralix and launched himself at another. His teeth found the gap between armor plates at the creature's throat. The alien crashed backward into a display of Zentari silks, thrashing wildly. Its mandibles clicked frantically as Rex's powerful jaws crushed through exoskeleton and soft tissue beneath. The other 2 Kralix scrambled away, their earlier bravado evaporating. Jake didn't move. He'd seen Rex work before. "Security to Section 7, a mechanical voice announced through the station speakers. "Hostile creature, loose in marketplace." A Yithrak merchant slithered toward the exit, but Rex was faster. The dog's predatory instincts, honed through 40,000 years of partnership with humans, locked onto the fleeing target. He cut off the alien's escape route, lips pulled back to expose blood-stained fangs. The Yithrak froze, its 3 hearts hammering visibly beneath translucent skin. "Nobody moves," Jake said calmly, finally drawing his plasma pistol. "Rex, heel." The dog returned to Jake's side immediately, sitting on his haunches but keeping his eyes fixed on the surrounding aliens. His ears were forward, alert. Blood dripped from his muzzle onto the deck plating. Station security arrived in force. 6 Dulvan guards in powered armor, carrying pulse rifles. Their leader, a scarred veteran named Torval, surveyed the scene. The wounded Kralix still writhed on the ground, purple blood pooling around its shattered arm. The second lay motionless, its throat torn open. The human's beast attacked without provocation. The lead Krolix wheezed, clutching its mangled limb. Liar! Carrick croaked from his stall. I witnessed everything. You assaulted the human first. Torval's 4 eyes narrowed. Is this true, human? Check the security footage, Jake replied. Your warrior friend here decided to open my pet's carrier by force. Rex was defending us. Pet? Torval's voice carried a note of disbelief. You keep a predator of that caliber as a companion animal? On Earth, we call them dogs. They're domesticated. The marketplace had fallen silent except for the wounded Kralix's labored breathing. Hundreds of alien eyes stared at Rex, who sat calmly beside Jake, occasionally licking the blood from his chops. The German shepherd's tongue lolled out, and his tail wagged once. A young Quintari stepped forward, its crystalline body refracting the station lights. Forgive my boldness, human, but I have studied Earth species. Your databanks claim these dogs are loyal companions. They live in your homes? That's right. Rex here sleeps on my bed. You share sleeping quarters with an apex predator? A Voss trader's voice cracked with incredulity. Jake shrugged. He's a good boy. Knows 73 commands. Won't eat unless I give permission. And once saved my entire colony from a Skrek raid. Took out 8 of them before I even reached my gun. The crowd murmured. Skrek were notorious raiders, 7 feet of armored reptilian muscle. The idea of this furry creature defeating 8 of them seemed impossible. How? Torval. Gar demanded. Skreks rely on intimidation and overwhelming force. They didn't expect resistance from what they thought was just another dumb animal on a farm world. Rex hit the first one before it cleared the fence. By the time they understood what they were fighting, half their squad was down. Jake scratched behind Rex's ears. Wasn't even his first fight. Back on Earth, his breed was used for police and military work for over a century. A Zentari philosopher, distinguished by the neural implants across its dome-shaped head, pushed through the crowd. Fascinating. Your species breeds these predators specifically to enhance their combat capabilities. We breed them for lots of reasons. Protection, herding livestock, rescue work, companionship. Rex's line goes back to German working dogs from the 19th century. Earth time. They were bred for intelligence, loyalty, and bite strength. And you trust it near offspring? Your weak young? Jake's expression hardened. My daughter, Emma, learned to walk by holding on to Rex's collar. He let her pull his ears, ride on his back, and steal food from his bowl. But when a mining drone malfunctioned and headed toward her playground, Rex dragged her to safety and stood between her and 2 tons of out-of-control machinery until I could shut it down. The Zentari's neural implants flickered. The creature understands abstract concepts like protecting the young of its pack. Dogs don't just understand it. They die for it. There are records going back thousands of years of dogs sacrificing themselves to save humans. It's built into them now. Part of what makes them dogs instead of wolves. Rex yawned, showing off impressive teeth, then laid down with his head on his paws. The casual display of those predatory assets, while appearing completely relaxed, unnerved every alien present. Torval made a decision. The Krolix provoked the attack. Medical teams will treat their wounded. Human, you will keep that creature contained while on this station. Fair enough, Jake said. He pulled out a replacement carrier from his pack. This one reinforced with titanium mesh. Rex, kennel. The dog stood, stretched, and walked calmly into the carrier. He circled twice and laid down, watching the aliens through the mesh with intelligent brown eyes. One more thing, Jake added, lifting the carrier. Anyone else wants to mock humans for being small, remember this. We didn't become the dominant species on our planet by being the biggest or the strongest. We did it by making friends with creatures like Rex. And there are billions more where he came from. He walked through the marketplace. The crowd parted like water, every species giving him a wide berth. Now for the third part. Word of the incident spread through the station faster than light particles through a quantum tunnel. Within an hour, every ship, captain, trader, and station resident knew about the human's pet. Within 3 hours, the footage had been transmitted to a dozen nearby systems. Within 6 hours, the Galactic Council's Security Committee had called an emergency session. Jake sat in a sterile waiting room outside the council chambers, Rex's carrier beside him. The dog had calmed down completely, dozing peacefully, as if he hadn't just killed an armored alien and maimed another. Through the carrier's mesh, Jake could see Rex's chest rising and falling in steady rhythm. The chamber doors hissed open. A council aide, a slight Quintari, with violet crystalline patterns, gestured for Jake to enter. The council chamber was designed to accommodate species of all sizes. Elevated platforms held the smaller delegates, while reinforced floors supported the massive bulk of the Tharn representative. Holographic displays floated throughout the space, showing data streams in multiple languages. Jake Martinez of Earth, the council chairperson announced. She was Liz Trevin, a Zentari with particularly elaborate neural implants, marking her advanced age and status. You stand before this council not as accused, but as a subject of inquiry. We seek to understand the implications of your pet's capabilities. Jake remained standing. Ask your questions. How many of these dogs exist in human space? A Tharn delegate's voice rumbled through translation software. Last census counted about 600 million dogs across all human colonies and Earth itself, though that number's probably low. Lots of frontier worlds don't report properly. The chamber fell silent. 600 million. The number hung in the air, like a threat. And all possess similar predatory abilities? Trevin asked. Rex is a German shepherd, bred for work and protection. But yes, most dog breeds have significant bite force and hunting instincts. Some are even more dangerous. Kangals can bite down with over 700 pounds of force. Caucasian shepherds were bred to fight wolves and bears. Belgian Malinois are used in special forces operations. A Voss delegate's throat sac inflated nervously. Your species deliberately created these weapons? We didn't create them. We partnered with them. About 40,000 years ago, some wolves started hanging around human camps. They ate our scraps. We appreciated the warning when predators approached. Over time, that relationship deepened. We fed them. They protected us. We shared our fires. They shared their hunts. Eventually, they weren't wolves anymore. They were dogs. Our dogs. You speak of partnership, yet they obey your commands, Trevin noted. Is this not slavery? Jake's jaw tightened. Rex could leave anytime he wants. I don't chain him when we're planetside. He stays because he chooses to. Because 10,000 generations of his ancestors chose to. Dogs and humans evolved together. We shaped them. They shaped us. Studies show humans with dogs live longer, healthier, happier lives. And dogs? They thrive with us in ways their wolf ancestors never could. The creature killed a Kralix warrior, a Dulvan delegate pointed out. This is not the action of a tame animal. The Kralix assaulted me and tried to force open Rex's carrier. He defended us. That's what dogs do. That's what they've always done. Jake gestured to the carrier. Want to know something else? In 30 seconds, I can have Rex rolling over for belly rubs. He's both a lethal guardian and a gentle companion. That's not a contradiction to humans. That's just Rex being a dog. To prove his point, Jake opened the carrier. Rex emerged, stretching each leg deliberately. The council members tensed, several reaching for panic buttons. Rex, sit. The dog sat immediately, tail wagging. Down. Rex laid down, head on paws. Roll over. The German shepherd rolled onto his back, exposing his vulnerable belly, tongue lolling happily. Jake scratched his stomach, and Rex's back leg kicked reflexively. Play dead. Rex went limp. Eyes closed, body completely still. And now watch this. Jake walked to the opposite side of the chamber, at least 50 feet away. He turned his back to Rex and stood silently. Every alien watched the dog, who remained motionless in his play-dead position. 30 seconds passed. Then, a minute. The creature shows remarkable discipline, Trevon observed. He's waiting for release, Jake explained. Rex could be in that position for an hour if I asked. But watch what happens when I need him. Jake pulled out his plasma pistol and fired at the ceiling, deliberately missing everyone but creating a loud crack and flash of light. He dropped to one knee, as if wounded. Rex was moving before the shot's echo faded. He crossed 50 feet in under 3 seconds, positioning himself between Jake and the direction of the shot. His lips pulled back, a growl building in his chest as he scanned for threats. Good boy, Rex. Stand down. It's okay. The dog relaxed immediately but stayed close to Jake, periodically glancing up to check on his human. This is the bond we share, Jake said quietly. Rex would die for me without hesitation, and I'd do the same for him. That's not about dominance or slavery. That's about family. A previously silent delegate spoke up. She was Kara Vint, a Yithrok renowned for her strategic thinking. Human Jake, I must ask a difficult question. If your species possesses 600 million of these apex predators, why have you not conquered the known galaxy? Your military capability, with such allies, would be formidable. Jake met her eyes. Because that's not who we are. Humans learned something important from dogs over the past 40,000 years. We learned that strength without loyalty is tyranny. We learned that the deadliest guardian can also be the gentlest friend. We learned that different species can coexist, not despite their differences, but because of them. He paused. Dogs made us better. They taught us that power is only meaningful when it protects something worth protecting. Trevon's neural implants pulsed thoughtfully. You claim these animals civilized your species? In a way, yes. Before dogs, humans were just another predator competing for resources. Dogs taught us cooperation across species lines. They were the first non-human intelligence we learned to truly communicate with. In many ways, they prepared us for meeting you. And every other species in this council. The fourth part begins here. The council session continued for another 2 hours. Delegates questioned Jake about training methods, breeding practices, and the legal status of dogs in human society. Rex remained calm throughout, occasionally accepting water from Jake, but otherwise content to observe the proceedings with alert intelligence. Finally, Trevon called for a recess. We will deliberate on the information provided. Jake Martinez, you are free to move about the station, but we request that your companion remain contained in public spaces. Understood, Jake replied. He guided Rex back into the carrier, securing it properly this time, with reinforced clasps. Outside the council chambers, Jake found himself surrounded by curious aliens. They kept a respectful distance, but their questions came rapid fire from all directions. How much does such a creature cost? Can they survive in methane atmospheres? Would a dog accept a Quintari as its human? Jake held up his hands. One at a time, please. First, dogs aren't bought and sold in human society anymore. That ended centuries ago. They're adopted, and there are strict welfare laws. Second, dogs breathe oxygen like humans. Third, as for accepting other species, I honestly don't know. The bond between dogs and humans is ancient and specific. But dogs have surprised us before. Endefor, a young Quintari, barely past its crystalline formation stage, pressed closer. I have been reading human literature during the recess. There is a story about a dog named Hachiko, who waited for his deceased human at a train station for 9 years. This cannot be factual. Number 4. It's absolutely factual, Jake confirmed. Happened in Japan on Earth, over 2,000 years ago. After Hachiko's human died at work, The dog went to the train station every day at the exact time his human used to arrive home. He waited there until his own death. 9 years later, they built a statue to honor his loyalty. The Quentari's crystalline structure shifted colors, indicating emotional processing. Such devotion to a dead companion seems illogical. That's because you're thinking of it logically. Dogs don't love logically. They just love. Unconditionally. Eternally. Completely. That's their gift. And their curse. An older Voss merchant approached. I witnessed the marketplace incident. Your Rex's transformation from peaceful companion to lethal guardian occurred in microseconds. How is such behavioral flexibility possible? Dogs are context-aware. Rex knows the difference between a threat and a friend. He reads body language, vocal tones, even chemical signals humans aren't consciously aware of. When that Kralix grabbed his carrier aggressively after threatening me, Rex understood the context immediately. But the second Kralix was merely standing nearby, the Voss pointed out. Pack dynamics. When one Kralix attacked, the others became potential threats by association. Rex neutralized the immediate danger, then established dominance over the remaining threats to prevent further aggression. It's the same instinct that makes dogs effective guards. They don't just react to individual threats, they assess entire situations. Carrick, the weapons dealer from the marketplace, pushed through the crowd. Human Jake, I have business proposition. I will pay substantial credits for breeding pair of these dogs. Market for perfect guardian animal would be enormous. Not happening, Jake said firmly. Dogs aren't weapons to be sold. They're living beings who chose to partner with humanity. I won't betray that trust by treating them as commodities. But surely, Carrick pressed, your species would benefit from trade. Think of the credits. Some things aren't for sale at any price. Dogs are one of them. A commotion near the docking bays drew everyone's attention. A Skrek raiding vessel had been detected approaching the station. Alarms blared as security teams mobilized. The Skrek were notorious for attacking trading stations, believing that displays of force earned respect in galactic commerce. Torval's voice crackled over the intercom. All civilians to designated safe zones. Security personnel to defensive positions. The crowd dispersed rapidly. Jake moved toward the safe zone, but paused when he saw the council delegates being escorted in the opposite direction, toward reinforced panic rooms reserved for high-value targets. Trevon noticed Jake hesitating. Human. The safe zone is that direction. Arm. I know. But if the Skrek breach the station, they'll target leadership first. You'll need protection. We have security. You have Dulvan guards in powered armor. I have Rex. Understanding flickered across Trevon's features. You believe your dog could be more effective than trained soldiers? I know he can. Rex has fought Skrek before. He knows how they move, how they think, and more importantly, they won't expect him. Trevon made a decision. Join us in the command center. If the Skrek breach our defenses, your companion may prove useful. The command center was a fortress within the station, buried deep in the core structure. Multiple redundant shields protected it, and heavy blast doors sealed the entrances. Inside, holographic displays showed the approaching Skrek vessel, a predatory design bristling with weapons. They're hailing us, the communications officer reported. Put them through, Trevon ordered. The holographic display shifted to show a Skrek captain, his scales scarred from countless battles. Zentari Station. You will lower shields and allow us to dock. We require supplies and entertainment. Refuse, and we will take what we want, by force. This is a neutral trading station, Trevon replied calmly. We do not submit to piracy. Withdraw, or face consequences. The Skrek captain laughed, a harsh rasping sound. Your Dulvan guards are no match for Skrek warriors. We have breached 47 stations. Yours will be 48. Perhaps, Trevon said. But consider this. We have humans on board. The The Skrek captain's expression changed slightly. Humans? The small, soft creatures? We have heard tales, but tales are not reality. Then allow me to provide reality. Trevin gestured, and another display activated, showing the marketplace footage. The Skrek captain watched as Rex tore through the Kralix warriors. One animal does not make a defense, the Skrek captain said, but his voice carried less certainty. No. Jake stepped into the hollow pickup range, but I'm not alone. This station has 17 human merchants currently docked, and we're a pack species. Threaten one of us. You threaten all of us. You bluff, small human. Try us and find out. But I should warn you, the Kralix warrior Rex killed? That was him being gentle. He's been trained to be merciful when possible. But if you breach this station, if you threaten innocent civilians, I'll give him different orders. And there are stories on Earth about what angry dogs can do. The final part begins. The Skrek captain stared through the holographic display, his reptilian eyes calculating odds. Behind him, other Skrek warriors shifted uneasily. Jake recognized their body language, the same hesitation he'd seen in the Kralix before Rex had attacked. Fear, masquerading as caution. You rely on intimidation, Jake continued, his voice steady. That works against species who evolved as prey or who fight with logic and strategy alone. But dogs evolved as persistence hunters. They don't intimidate. They don't quit. And they've been fighting alongside humans since before we built starships. Fairy tales to frighten younglings. The Skrek captain spat, but his claws tightened on his command chair. Jake opened Rex's carrier. The dog emerged, immediately reading the tension in the room. His ears went forward, focused. See this dog? His name is Rex. He's 8 years old, which is middle-aged for his breed. He's slowing down. Not as fast as he used to be. But his bite force hasn't decreased. His willingness to protect hasn't wavered. And his experience makes him deadlier now than when he was young and reckless. Rex positioned himself between Jake and the holographic display, instinctively placing himself between his human and the perceived threat. The Skrek captain leaned forward, studying the dog with predatory intensity. On Earth, Jake said, it means don't provoke something peaceful, because you won't like what happens when it wakes up. The Kralix learned that lesson. The question is, will you? The silence stretched for 10 seconds. 20. 30. You will regret this display, human, the Skrek captain finally growled. Neither do humans, Jake replied, and neither do dogs. The transmission ended. The Skrek vessel altered course, its engines flaring as it accelerated away from the station. Cheers erupted in the command center from the relief crew and guards, but Trevin remained composed. You took a significant risk, Jake Martinez. If they had called your bluff? It wasn't a bluff, Jake interrupted. I contacted the other human ships while you were talking. All 17 captains agreed. If the Skrek had breached, every human on this station would have fought. Trevin's neural implants pulsed rapidly, processing this information. Your species' loyalty to one another is remarkable. Is this also learned from dogs? Maybe. Or maybe that's why dogs chose us in the first place. They recognized something in ancient humans that resonated with their own pack instincts. We're social creatures. Both species. We protect our own. We fight for our families. In the end, maybe humans and dogs are so compatible because we're more similar than different. Rex sat down, his tail wagging slowly. The crisis had passed, and he could relax. Jake knelt beside him, running his hands through the dog's thick fur. Good boy, Rex. Such a good boy. The dog's tail wagged faster. Over the next few days, Jake noticed changes in how aliens interacted with him. The mockery had vanished entirely, replaced by cautious respect. Several species requested meetings to discuss Earth's history with dogs. The Quintari ambassador even proposed a cultural exchange program to better understand the human-canine bond. On his final day at the station before departing for the mining colony he called home, Jake stood in the marketplace where everything had started. The bloodstains had been cleaned, the damaged stalls repaired. Carrick waved him over. "Human Jake, I have something for you." The Voss reached under his counter and produced a small metal plate, roughly 4 inches square. Engraved on it were words in both English and Galactic Standard. Rex, Guardian, and Friend. "I don't understand," Jake said, examining the gift. "Word has spread beyond this station. What happened here? What your Rex did? It's changing perceptions. Humans were seen as weak, small, unremarkable. Now, species across 3 sectors are reassessing. Not because humans are warriors, but because you have warriors who choose to be gentle, who can be both protector and companion." Carrick's throat sac inflated, and what Jake had learned was the Voss equivalent of a smile. "This plate is from all the merchants here, to honor Rex, and to remind us that strength comes in unexpected forms." Jake attached the plate to Rex's collar. "What do you think, boy? You've got a medal." Rex sniffed the plate once, then promptly ignored it in favor of investigating an interesting smell near Carrick's stall. The alien merchants watched the dog with fascination, rather than fear now. Several even approached cautiously, asking if they could offer Rex treats. "He prefers dried meat," Jake advised. "And always let him sniff your hand first. Let him decide if he wants to accept it." The merchants followed his instructions carefully. Rex accepted their offerings with gentle precision, his powerful jaws capable of crushing bone, taking the treats with such delicacy that he barely touched their fingers. Each successful interaction brought relieved chirps, clicks, and hums from the aliens. Trevin approached, her neural implants glowing softly. "Jake Martinez, the Council has reached a decision regarding your testimony. We are formally recognizing dogs as sapient companions rather than animals. They will be afforded rights and protections under galactic law. They'll appreciate that, though they won't understand the legalities," Jake said. "Dogs live in the moment. All they care about is whether their humans are safe and happy. Perhaps that is a wisdom more species should embrace," Trevin mused. "The Council also wishes to establish formal diplomatic contact with Earth. Not just for trade, but for cultural exchange. We have much to learn from a species that achieved harmony with apex predators. We didn't achieve harmony. We grew into it together, over 40,000 years. That's not something that can be replicated quickly or easily." Jake scratched behind Rex's ears. "But we can share what we've learned. Maybe help other species understand that different doesn't mean dangerous, and dangerous doesn't mean evil." As Jake prepared to board his transport ship, with Rex walking calmly beside him, he reflected on the past few days. The galaxy had mocked humanity's size, seeing physical stature as the measure of strength. They hadn't understood that humans had never needed to be the biggest predator. They'd partnered with predators instead, and in doing so, had created something unprecedented in galactic history. Rex settled into his usual spot on the ship, a cushioned area near the pilot's chair where he could keep an eye on Jake while they traveled through space. His tail thumped against the floor, a steady rhythm that Jake found comforting during long voyages. "Just you and me again, buddy," Jake said, initiating the launch sequence. "Back to the colony, back to Emma and Sarah, back to normal life." Rex's ears perked up at the names. He knew them, loved them, protected them as fiercely as he protected Jake. That was what dogs did. They loved their pack, their family, with an intensity that transcended species, language, or understanding. The transport ship lifted off, leaving the Zentari station behind. As they accelerated toward the jump gate, Jake received a transmission. It was from the Galactic Council, official and formal. "This message is for Jake Martinez and all humans within Council space. In recognition of the unique bond between humans and their canine companions, the Council extends an invitation for Earth to join as a member species. We acknowledge that humanity brings not just technological achievement or military capability, but something more valuable. You bring the proof that different species can coexist not as masters and servants, but as genuine partners and friends. We welcome humanity, and we welcome dogs, to the galactic community. Jake smiled, reading the message aloud to Rex. The dog's tail wagged, not because he understood the words, but because his human's voice carried happiness. Somewhere on Earth, in kennels and homes and farms and cities, 600 million dogs were living their lives. Playing, working, protecting, loving. Each one carrying forward the ancient compact made between wolf and human, around fires long extinguished. Each one proving every day that the greatest strength isn't found in size or weapons or technology, but in the bond between beings who choose to stand together. Rex yawned, showing off his impressive teeth one more time, then rested his head on his paws. The galaxy had learned an important lesson. Humans might be small, but they were never alone. And the companions they'd brought with them from Earth weren't just pets or weapons or tools. They were family. They were guardians. They were friends. They were dogs, and that made all the difference.